Welcome to The Journey of a Singer with me, your host, Nick Pritchard. This is the podcast where we dive into the fascinating and unique journeys of those individuals within the creative industry. Today's distinguished guest is jazz and big band singer Andrew Bourn. Andrew shot to prominence as a finalist on Britain's Got Talent, appearing as part of the UK's most successful swing vocal group, Jackpack. The Jackpack kickstarted their whirlwind career with a top 10 selling album with Simon Cowell's record label. They have toured the world, performing alongside global artists such as Katy Perry, That and Jessie J. As well as the honour of singing for His Majesty King Charles at the Royal Palaces, Andrew has delivered bucket list shows at both the Royal Albert Hall and Proms in the Park, performing for audience sizes of 50,000. Andrew has ventured into a new journey as a solo artist, most recently as a finalist on ITV's reality TV show, Stastruck. In our conversation, Andrew peels back the curtain on the reality of the entertainment industry, sharing inspirational stories of his time with the Jackpack and aspirations as a solo artist. So, sit back and enjoy the journey of a singer with today's guest, Andrew Bourn. Andrew Bourn, welcome to the podcast. Brilliant to have you. Thank you very much for coming in.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, we've never actually met in person before.
No.
But obviously I've seen your stuff on social media. I've seen you on the TV many times. And congrats, by the way, because
thank you.
Most recently you're on Stastruck. And I thought you smashed it. I was genuinely looking at her like, he's got to win this. There's no way he can't win this. And then they called the Adele singer, who obviously won. Yeah. She was great. But
she was good.
I was biased. I did definitely think.
I think we've got a love for it, though, haven't we? Yeah. We've got a specific love for the genre, and I think with that kind of show, there's obviously talent involved, but there's also, they're big icons. So those big, regardless of talent, regardless of who's doing it, if there's a song that means something to you, it's got a special place, isn't it? And it was an audience vote. And it was, I'm not saying it was all young people, but Adele is very much, kids to grandparents. Everyone loves Adele. And Sinatra, I know some of the
audience was, how many people were in actually?
I think it was about 400.
Okay, it's bigger than I thought it was going to be. But then it's different to something like when you guys did Britain's Got Talent. Yeah. You're talking about millions of people that are able to vote in. It's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah. It's a whole being live. Being live was very different. This was just in and out studio.
I've got a fun story about it. So the Stastruck TV show. Yeah. I don't know how much of this they mentioned to you when you were on it, but I was on it it was season 1. Yeah. I can't remember if it was pre-pandemic or post-pandemic, but I was doing the Sinatra thing, and the taxi driver
with Aidan,
with the bloke, the taxi driver was on it, and there was 2 others, and those 2 others weren't the same 2 that was on yours, and they said to us, they were like, okay, so we did the audition for who they were going to pick for the show, and they said, okay, the Sinatra lot's through, and then they changed their mind and they pulled out on the Sinatras. Yeah. But then it looked as though they pulled out on the whole show because it never went ahead. Basically, your season was the first season.
No. The first season, Cher won it.
Oh, okay. So was that season?
But it was COVID. Yeah, like the voting was all. That
makes more sense.
Yeah, I think there were booths in the studio and there was no audience. That
makes more sense. Yeah. So we were pulled out of that season. Right. And they said, it would be in the next season or something like that.
And did you get a call? Or?
I never got the call back.
Did you
No. I think they really liked Aidan. The taxi driver. Yeah. He did a good job. I never thought they were quite that keen on me, to be honest.
Right, okay.
It was one of them where I was like, I came off it with a bit of a weird feeling. Like, I don't know if I'd go back onto it, but then
TV is a bit like that. Yeah. Especially in our industry of performers, and whether you're a singer or a juggler or ventriloquist or whatever, there's been so many examples where people that have been in the game a long time go and do a TV show. They're begged to go and perform on Britain's Got Talent or whatever, and they get on there, and there's a tiny edit. And they're laughing at them, not with them, but laughing at them. And I think there's been too many examples of that have put, real quality acts off of going on and doing it. And I have a very different view. I obviously try and keep it a balanced view, but my experience with Britain's Got Talent with Jackpack was just all positive. You know, they really supported us. They kind of had, I think they had a feeling that they wanted an act like us, and we felt supported. So from my perspective, I was one of the lucky ones, I guess. But I certainly have heard of experiences where it's not been quite as positive.
Oh, you nailed it with the Jackpack stuff, definitely.
Yeah, it was good.
Unreal.
Can't take any credit for it though. No.
Well, in terms of, we'll get onto the Jackpack stuff.
Sure.
As well, but with the reality TV, yeah, we've had a few people on here that have done those kind of shows. I've done a few, and I've also had really good experiences. I think it is what you make of it, as well, and I think you're way more likely to get a good edit if you just go with the vibe. Keep positive.
I think nowadays there's been so many of these shows, isn't there? So many finalists or whatever that have come off the back of it. And I mean, we can talk about all of that, but one of the funny things, right? They laughed. The costume department, they laughed at me because I went in with a view of I'm all right. Like, I've got a good enough business. I've done what I've done. This was purely about an experience for me. It was just another page in the book. That's what I kept saying. And my wife kept saying to me, what are you doing this for? She didn't get it. And having left Jackpack, there was just an element of me going, oh, why not? You know, it's just another little bit of exposure, and this time just as me. Mm-hmm. So that was the reasoning behind it. But I remember going in for the first kind of wardrobe fitting, and I said to him, look, I said, if you try and put me in something daft, I've got a car full of suits that I will wear. And if I don't, then I'm off. And they were laughing. And from that point on, they were like, oh, you're going to go and get your suits on a car, are you? But, you know, it was one of those ones where I just had to I felt like I had to be protective of what I've got. And if I wasn't happy, I wasn't going to do it. Simple.
But you've worked to get to that position.
Yeah.
Like I haven't been in this game as long as you, but when you first start out, it's like you take opportunities sometimes for the sake of taking them.
Yeah.
And then you'll get to the point where you're at, where it's kind of like you're choosing what you'd like to do, how to steer your own career.
Yes.
And you can afford to do that because you've built up into a position where you don't need certain things.
Well, I think experience gives you that path, and it teaches you where you want to go and where you're not that fussed about.
You've performed on stages with like thousands.
Yeah.
With Jackpack, I mean, another level of numbers. And you've performed like alongside some absolute megastars.
Yeah.
What was that part of your life like, where you're getting the news articles, you're getting the interviews, you're getting like...
Yeah.
All of a sudden, everyone's blowing up your phone and is like, we want the Jackpack on. Just talk us through what's going through your head, what's happening.
Well, everything was communicated via our manager. So we were just getting these crazy calls constantly. Do you want to go and sing for Prince Charles? Yeah, we do, of course. We're going to go, we've been booked to sing for 3,000 people in Dubai, an open air concert, and Katy Perry's on after you. Fancy it? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, how much do I pay you?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and the Prince of whatever's going to be there. You know, it's crazy. And we did that kind of stuff regularly, and mixed in with, you know, like a very corporate kind of gig, like the opening of a Land Rover garage or something like that. You know, where you're just at this event where people are standing about with a glass of champagne waiting for a ribbon to be cut, but you're in the background singing. So there was such a mixture of events.
And did you sort of was it a case of we've got to take as much as we can, a lot of exposure? Obviously, there's a level, but you want to do as much as you can at that point.
Well, do you know, funnily enough, yes, but no. Our manager was very protective about the level of work that we did. And what I mean by that is we weren't out doing the celebrity soccer games. Does that make sense? And I use that as an example because I can remember it. But we weren't mixing around at the time. Towie was such a big thing. We weren't trying to be those kind of guys. We were family guys. The brand was an elevated brand. We wanted it to be aspirational. We wanted people to, even though I was just, you know, a young lad with 2 kids wearing a hoodie at the weekends. Do you know what I mean? That was the reality of it. I remember our manager, we were doing the Christmas lights on Regent Street. Okay, so massive gig for us. Regent Street was packed. Take That were on. They were doing the light switch on. Emma Bunton was there. I can't remember who else was there, but I was talking to the Mayor of London. Or maybe not the Mayor of London, but the Mayor of like Mayfair or whatever. And he was saying, oh, you know, how has it been? What was it been like? And our manager was there as well. And I was like, yeah, it's great. You know, I still drive around in my Ford Focus though. And my manager afterwards said, no. No one needs to know about your Ford Focus. And like that, if that summarizes it, that was like aspirational. You've need to make people think that you are something to look up to, even though I'm so much the guy next door and I'm so open about what it is and what I've got. The last 8 years, my life has built through, you know, working hard and Jackpack and stuff. And just age, you know, you kind of, you work your way through life, don't you? But yeah, that was quite a big lesson for me. It's like, no, you don't talk about your Ford Focus anymore. Not there's anything wrong with Ford Focuses, but I get it. And it was I just had to change my mindset a little bit. And yeah, I'm sure it didn't do me any harm learning that lesson.
Those have got to be some real highlights though, the things that you've just outlined, and they are like mega star events. So
yeah.
I can see what your manager's saying is like, you know, you're on the same stage as these people that aren't driving a Ford Focus. Like,
yeah,
we want you to be on that same bracket because you are. Like,
yeah,
you're on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Would you say those are some of the biggest highlights of like the royalty, the 3000?
Yeah. Recording the album was just absolutely mega. 70-piece orchestra in London, like 40-piece string section, and songs that were epic, maybe a bit too epic for people. I think that maybe that was possibly one of its downfalls. But yeah, it was just such an experience.
And it did really well.
Yeah, it did really well, but not well enough to get another album out of Psycho. It was a funny one. It did well. We got number 8 in the charts. We were very, very close to being picked up by Sony in Australia, Sony in South Asia, Sony America were talking, and I genuinely feel like regarding the album that there was like 8 wasn't good enough. Like from their perspective, they've got Simon Cowell, the Simon Cowell, spending a fortune on this album with these guys that have just had major TV, have done every show in the country, and they've only got to number 8 in the charts. But from my perspective, the flip side of it was that there was so much money spent on it that you're bound, you know, it's all a business. You're going to be looking at the profit and loss at the other side of it, going, we've spent X amount and it's only pulled in this amount of sales. And it was at the time of no record stores being open, no HMV, you know, you're reliant on CD. Our audience was an older audience, I'd say. And, you know, they're buying CDs in the supermarkets. You're reliant on logistical departments of supermarkets for your whole future. It's like I was going into Morrison's going, why haven't you got my CD on the shelf? No one's going to be able to buy it. But that was like the reality of it. We were busting around checking that they were available for sale. And Spotify was just growing. So not everyone knew what Spotify was. Certainly the older audience, even, you know, the middle-aged audience, Spotify was so new. And it was very bad timing. Very bad timing. It really annoys me because we could have done, album 2 could have been much more, just not budget, but it could have just been much less. We didn't need to spend, you know.
Well, just for reference, I mean, if you've got 70 people in,
yeah, exactly,
on a
top producers, all recorded in London.
Yeah,
we went to the Ukraine and recorded a music video. We had 100 extras. You know, the production team was enormous.
Hundreds of thousands has gone into that.
Yeah, literally. So when you know what it's like. It's all a business, isn't it? When you look at it at the other side, you go, where did that? You know, why didn't it go right? And for me, if only they'd have gone, do you know what? There's another 20, 30, 40 grand. Let's do album 2. Let's just simplify it. Because I also remember the week that we released our album was the week that there was the Elvis Philharmonic album, which got to number 1, obviously, like huge amount of sales. You can't compete with Elvis. There was Rod Stewart released an original, a new album, fresh Rod Stewart album. And I remember listening to him on the radio at that point saying, I recorded this in my own studio at home because there's no money, you can't earn the money back from
That's what he said.
That's what he said, yeah. I remember listening to the interview, and there was us with this huge album that was, gold plated. It was mega. So that's the background of it, really.
That is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really like, I did a song with a 20-piece big band.
Yeah.
In comparison to that, and that was literally for like a single song 3 hours. Like, guys, we've got to bang this out as quick as possible. Like, money's like.
Take Me Home.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Thanks. And I'm trying to fathom now, like 70 people in there, just the orchestra, and then you've got top producers, you've got all the. I mean, that is an experience that every aspiring singer is like. Most people be like, okay, I've hit the top. Like that is.
Well, we were.
Where'd you go from there?
We were giving money for clothes, stylists. We were going up, Oxford Street, going and buying this and buying that for. We're doing a TV. We're doing this morning, in a few days, we need a new outfit. So we were going out and buying new outfits. And then we had our videographer and photographer, Tommy, that was with us at all times, capturing everything. So much money that went into it. Yeah. So much money. Cars picking us up and stuff. It was like the real deal. It was the real deal for that little period of time.
I think a lot of people don't realise, like, even the big artists that have done really well. Yeah. There's very few that have like an indefinite period in that limelight. Even the top artists. Yeah. And to be able to say that you've done that, I don't think people realise like how much of an achievement that is, because you were in that stage for a number of years, and there are like big time icons that only lasted a couple of years and put a couple of tracks out and lived that lifestyle that you lived, where people are picking you up and you're getting the clothes and you're like, that is just phenomenal. It's really like, what an achievement at the end of the day.
I've often say that the other side of it, we were very, very lucky, because you're only in the limelight when you've got something to sell. So we were dropped after album 1. There was nothing else to sell. So we weren't in the limelight anymore. We still had some nice gigs, and we got a show at the Royal Albert Hall that we were part of, and still managed to do some cool stuff. But we were fortunate that the genre that we sang was something that was timeless, and that could, if there was a big event in London that had, a Vegas theme, a Hollywood theme, a James Bond theme, we would be the guys to get the call.
You're also like a good-looking bunch of guys. It's not like you've got these, not that it would be a bad thing, but like if you're all in your 70s, sort of croaking along.
Yeah. There was definitely
fresh. Like, who else is doing that?
Yeah.
Where else are you going to find a bunch of like younger lads? Who can put on a show? Yeah. And represent the country as well.
We did put on a show as well. It's so good.
And I think there's something so British about what you did. Like, to go through the Britain's Got Talent. Yeah. The brand that you created, and I think it was very much like in this country, like we created. It was one of those things where like Brits are like, we've created Jackpack. Yeah. And it's a very like iconic thing. So cool, there's an element of pride. Like, I'm proud to like, whenever I like mention, even to say like, I know some members like yourself and Martin. There's an element of pride there.
Yeah.
Where it's
nice. Yeah. It was amazing. I think we all learnt a lot from each other as well, like being on stage. Because I feel like Alfie, who was one of the original members, he was like the cheeky Essex boy. and younger, and he was such a cool bastard on stage. And I wasn't, like, that wasn't my thing. But I feel like over the years, I picked up a bit of his kind of cheek and the way he flirted on stage. And I do it a lot now. I, like, you know, happily flirt on stage because that's, you know, it's all part of it. But I definitely learned a lot from him. And all, like, Sean was just so smooth. You know, it's just such, he just looked after himself so well, and I didn't understand that element of life either. I just wasn't, you know, I had kids to deal with. Martin was like the musical one. He was just like harmonies, and so he had so much more natural musicality than me. So the four of us all had our different strengths. I was the entertainer. Like, I was the one that had done Pontins and was used to like being able to entertain a crowd, and very happy at doing so. And sometimes the guys would be like, oh no, you know, let's not do that. But I couldn't help myself.
You brought everyone out their shell probably then.
I don't know. Yeah. They'd be like, no, we're not singing Sweet Caroline.
And also the other thing about that show is people feel like they're part of your journey because you've gone through the whole Britain's Got Talent thing. They've obviously been voting you through.
Yeah.
And they feel a part of it.
Yeah. So I still get it now.
Yeah.
I say, it's a gag of mine on stage. I say, you know, some Britain's Got Talent. Anyone vote? And there's always one in the audience that goes, yep. So is that you, mum? and then I say, do you want your money back? And everyone laughs. But yeah, no, but you're right. Afterwards, people come up, we voted for you. Happened 2 nights ago. We voted for you. Yeah, it was amazing, really amazing.
And to me, it sounds like obviously overall a massively positive experience. And you, even just in the way like you're reminiscing about it, you can tell that it was just an amazing.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah,
so grateful. Like we supported the Jacksons at Proms in the Park. Wow, sang in front of 50,000 people.
Oh my god,
literally 50,000 people, all waving their, you know, Union Jack flags and singing along. It was we had a good. We were on for. I think we were on stage for about 45, 50 minutes. And the Jackson 5 or Jacksons were on after us. And it's just mega. It was just mega. You know, such an amazing experience. One, that's the thing that will never be topped, I don't think. You know, if I'm lucky, I might get to record another album. Even if I pay for it myself, I might get to sing at the Royal Albert Hall again. Who knows? Will I get to sing in front of 50,000 people? That's quite a big one, isn't it?
That's huge.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, obviously most people never get near to that.
Yeah.
Was there any points where, was there any low points to it? Or was it all just kind of like this big journey? And
No, not low points. There were 4 of us and a manager. And we were all on the journey together. We loved each other like brothers. And we've genuinely had, like, we had such a good journey together. Along the way, you've got 4 men with different opinions, basically. You know, so there's always going to be that typical boy band thing where it happens to all boy bands. You know, when there's someone, I don't know, it's, you know, you're not always going to pull in the same direction, are you? And one of the reasons why I left was because 2 of the guys had very small children. And I just wanted to do more, and everyone else's commitments didn't seem to marry up with where I was at in my life. I wanted to really put some energy into it and reinvigorate what we had. Do
you feel like they were slowing down when you wanted to speed up?
Yeah, which is natural, and there's no blame at all. It was just, you know, it's just different stages of life. So I always felt I was pushing, and that's just me. It's just me, you know. Maybe it's not always a positive thing. I don't know, but I just like to put energy, as much energy into things as I can, to know that if it goes wrong, we've tried. If it goes right, we've done it, but for a reason. That's how I work.
Yeah, and then, did it get to the point where you were like, you felt like you were ready to take off and do something, and then it kind of got to that point where you thought, well, if they're not going to be on the same speed as where I'm at now, then I need to go my own way. Is that kind of the reason?
Yeah, pretty much. I think there was an element of COVID kind of got in the way, and we'd all been out of the game for a little while. So there was definitely, it was just, I had a different business, like, in a very simple way to explain it. I had this other income, so I wasn't reliant on it. I know it's such a simplistic thing, but I've got 3 kids and a house and a dog and cars, and life's so expensive now. And unfortunately, everything's about money, isn't it? Unfortunately, I've got to make sure that I feed the kids and pay the mortgage and whatever. So having the income from the handyman business, which was doing great as well, that just gave me a little bit of freedom to go, what's right for me? I wasn't trapped financially to the band. So it was at that point, and just kind of weighing it all up, I just thought it was time for me to do my own thing. And don't they say something about life cycles every 7 years or something? It was 7 years.
They say that your cellular turnover, the autophagy of your cells, so your cells dying and recreating, apparently every 7 years you're an entirely new set of cells.
Really?
So your skin turnover might take however long, your liver, but apparently every 7 years,
there you go,
you're actually a new person.
It was bang on 7 years.
So was it exactly 7
years? Yeah, it was.
They also say there's the 7 year. It's not a 7 year ick, but the 7 year something.
Yeah,
where you kind of get bored or giving it your shot.
Yeah.
So it was bang on 7.
It was bang on 7 years, and there's no regrets, no bad feelings. I'm in touch with all the guys. They were all very supportive after Stastruck, and Joe lives around the corner from me. I see him all the time. So there's and I've gone on to do things because I just wanted to sing. Some of the guys have found income from elsewhere, and I've found income from singing, and it's much easier on your own than when you've got 4 of you plus management. Yeah, exactly. So I do go and cruise a bit. I work in a hotel chain called Warner's, and just do lots of stuff. My diary's so varied. I'm very happy to admit that I will go and sing at a wedding, or I'll go and do a 60th birthday party, or I did a 60th wedding anniversary like not so long ago in a golf club. I was just like, these 90-year-olds are still married and still in love, and I'm performing for them. There is no thought in my mind like, oh no, that's a bit low rent, or I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that. I just A, I've got to feed the family, money's money, and B, like why go down the same path all the time? Keep it varied. And and you've got a gift that a lot of people don't have, where it would be a shame not to use it as well. Yeah. And you enjoy it. So it's kind of, why would you not? There are times though when you're like, the curse of a full diary. Yeah. When you're like, you've got a full diary and you're feeling like you're doing great, and then an opportunity comes out and you think, oh, I can't do that because I'm doing a whatever. But yeah, I've made friends with people. I've got a gig on Saturday. I'm doing a 60th birthday party. I've sung for them about 5 times. It's just, we've created a relationship together.
I've always said that as well, is like your private clients, for some reason, it doesn't feel like business, especially if it's a wedding.
My kids are coming.
Get to know them.
Exactly.
Really get to know them. Some of my best friends, and I still meet up with, and they'll come to a show. People that I've sung at their wedding, or sung at some kind of event. And it's just really beautiful. I'm sure you feel the same, but we are very lucky to actually even be. We're lucky, grateful, and it's just a real blessing that we have to be able to sing and have that as a living.
100%.
And then I think about that a lot, and then I also think it's our duty to put on the most magical experience, and sometimes I don't feel like it's me that's singing. I feel like wherever this voice is coming from, I'm channeling it from somewhere. Here you go. Here's this is for you. This is for you guys. I find it really.
Have you done much in the way of like a normal job, proper job?
So I really wanted to be a rugby player, and part of the reason I wanted to do that is because I wanted to use that as a platform, kind of like who's the DJ? What's his name? Rob Shaw? Not Rob Shaw. He's in it anyway. He's done his thing, played for England, and then went on to be DJ and all sorts of other stuff. I'm a celeb. And that's kind of what I aspired towards. I was like, I want to do the rugby, use that as a platform for acting and singing.
Right.
And then I got some opportunities when I was at uni. I got injured playing rugby, and I was just sitting there twiddling my thumbs, and this TV show was like, oh, do you want to do this? And I was like, oh, I'm not doing that. Then I was like, hang on, why am I not doing that?
Yeah.
Did this experience, and it was great, and it really opened up my eyes, and I was like, I don't need the rugby anymore. I can just go on and do this. So when I graduated uni, I signed this contract for another TV show, and it was a big
what was it?
Huge. It was Love Island.
Did you?
And it was the first one in South Africa.
Right.
I haven't spoken about this on the podcast before.
I've never watched it. I don't even know what Love Island is. Yeah, no, I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. It's something that I don't know. I've avoided.
Well, good for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of this I'm meant to sort of divulge in, but
yeah.
Basically, I signed this deal with them, and it was in South Africa, and it was a really nice contract. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And part of it was like, you can't do any singing or acting because my profile wasn't a singer or actor. I was this university grad, basically.
Yeah.
That was my profile, in a similar fashion to how like they love to put the emphasis on your handyman thing, and they wanted to put the emphasis on, oh, he's just finished school.
Yeah.
Thing.
Gotcha.
So anyway, I'm like, okay, sounds wicked. So what do I do between now and January? 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, you can't do this and this. Like, that's not our problem, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Well, it doesn't say anything about like if I'm just street busking.
Yeah.
It's not a performance.
Yeah.
So I was a street busker for 3 months.
Oh, really?
And that's how I earned my living. So
yeah. How was it?
All of my income came from busking on the streets of London. And I have some wild stories.
Yeah, I bet.
It was honestly the craziest thing. And I was doing this in Archer stuff and replay stuff. And there were days where...
Oh, that's you! No, I'm only joking. I thought I recognised your face.
But it was good in a lot of ways because it meant that I could live on practicing singing, and I was getting up to speed. It was like my training.
Yeah.
The days I was out there for 5 hours in the cold, snow, wind. I was the only guy there. My equipment's getting wet and rained on.
Yeah. Good on you.
So I did a lot of that, and then the contract fell through, which is another story with the TV show.
Right.
And I was like, well, I've started to pick up a few of the, like, people are taking cards and they're wanting to book me for things.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm quite enjoying this. I never saw myself going down the straight singer route. I was like, because I'd also been doing a little bit of modelling, a little bit of TV, film, acting stuff beforehand, and I was just seeing what was out there. Wanted to do a bit of a mix. And then I started to take on these private bookings from the busking. Yeah. And then I started to get like restaurant gigs, and then it was like the members clubs, London, and then next thing I knew, I was being like whipped out to Dubai.
Yeah.
And then I was singing in front of a full opera house in Dubai, and I was
like, what a gig that was.
So I remember my phone popping up.
I've been looking at that online. I was very jealous.
It was
thinking,
amazing.
I want that gig.
Yeah. It was really
incredible.
It really was. And I remember I just started crying in the change room.
Did you?
Got this change room to myself. Got name on the door. I looked at my phone. It had just popped up going, a year ago today.
Yeah.
And here's me like singing on the side of the street.
That's incredible.
And so it was nice because my missus was in the audience, and she was like, it's nice like having to going from watching you in the freezing cold where I'm wearing 3 coats and gloves to wearing like opera house gloves and a nice dress.
Yeah. With a huge orchestra behind you.
Yeah, big band orchestra. And that really opened up things. I knew it was building to that because I was doing stuff here where I was getting similar-ish opportunities, but that one really kind of opened the door in the theatre kind of route. So then I did this big show in Saudi, and then I did a 3-month thing in Dubai with actually the London Cabaret Club, which they would love to have you doing shows, I'm sure. Yeah, they
hook me up.
Yeah, if you want to, because
absolutely.
they messaged me yesterday saying, "Can you do Saturday the 20th or something?"
Oh, really?
And I was out of it.
What, in London or?
Yeah, no, this one is in London.
In London, yeah. A friend of mine does it.
Okay,
which
Paul? Yeah.
McDowell,
yeah. I sung with Paul when I did a few in the one in London. Really
it looks a good. I keep saying to him, I'm going to bring the missus out. Do you know what? I will say this to you because you're young and you're kid free for the time being. I would say that I'm obviously quite a bit older than you. My drive, I can't go and do put myself out there to do the things that I would do if I didn't have a family. So you make the most of every opportunity. Like you're in a really good spot with where you're at and the gigs that you're doing and the people that you're putting yourself in front of. And you're in a situation where if someone said, I want you to come and do a residency for 2 months in wherever, Dubai, Qatar, whatever, you can go, yeah, do you know what? I'm up for it. Whereas that opportunity for me, I wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I was reading something the other day that was basically talking about the same kind of thing. It's like, as you get into that stage where you're at, you've got this huge advantage of the experience, the CV.
Yeah.
How do you then, as a younger guy, put yourself out there? And it was basically exactly that. It's like you need to do the things that you're not tied down by. So it's those things where you get a phone call. Can you come here next week? And well, I think nowadays, like you're so much more mature than I was at your age. I was such a, even going on Britain's Got Talent at 32, and how old are you? 26.
So even at 32, I had 2 kids. I was on my second mortgage, and I look back at myself then, and I was such a child still.
You think?
And it was like 9 years ago. If I'd have, I was so wet around the ears at your age now. So like you're out there, you're hustling, and you got to hustle, man.
You have to.
You got to hustle.
And I think sometimes it can rub people up the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I just don't see any other option.
No.
Like you have to knock on the doors.
Yeah.
In this day and age, otherwise you're not going to get anything. If you just sit there and be like, I'll wait for them to come.
Yeah. It just doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
And then, I mean, I feel like I've been fortunate enough where our particular sector of the jazz guys, everyone seems to be quite nice, like especially the musicians. Everyone is very friendly and great to work with. But you're always going to encounter a couple of people that like don't like the fact that you're trying to put yourself out there. And then what makes it harder is the social media side of things. I find it really hard to get across my genuine persona on there.
Yeah.
It's part of the reason I started the podcast. Because I feel like you can just sit down and have a chat and try and be yourself as much as possible.
Yeah, get yourself out there, yeah.
When you got 10 seconds to film a little video that's like, come and see me here. Or
it's man, really I hate it. I hate social... Well, I don't hate it. That's a very negative word, but I just don't find it as easy as others. I find it very difficult. I think, I'm going to post that. Oh no, I look like a right woolly. So I don't, and I delete it, and then nothing gets put up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas I think like in your generation, it's just much more of a natural thing. Like there wasn't Facebook. I'm so old. There wasn't Facebook when I was your age, and even maybe there was actually, but even like Instagram was just coming out when we did Britain's Got Talent, and we were like, oh no, it won't last. We won't open an Instagram page. We'll just keep to Facebook and Twitter. And it was such a mistake because we had it was so unbalanced. Like our Facebook following was huge and our Instagram following, which started, a few years on. But we all struggled a little bit with it about, what can we do? What can we put? We need to protect our brand. We can't say that we're doing that because, people might think bad of it. But I feel like the way forward is like a Lewis Capaldi approach, which is just, I am what I am.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
That's the bit that I think is the most difficult to deal with, because it used to be the case that like these Hollywood stars, the reason they had that kind of aura about them is because you didn't know anything about them.
They were untouchable.
They were untouchable, like closed books. And now it just seems more popular to go the other direction.
Yeah.
I wonder if it will swing back. Like I wonder if there'll be too much of that authenticity. And people start to be like, we want someone that's a bit more of that aura type character.
Yeah, I think I just do that naturally. I don't on my own social media, I don't put anything about the kids. I mean, it's probably boring as hell really, and it's just like, oh, that's a nice picture of me, I'm going to post that, and it's just loads of pictures of me singing.
But that's part of the brand as well. I think a lot of the times it's just a tick box. Like now I view my Instagram as a landing page similar to what a website used to be.
Yeah, definitely.
So when people are going to come book you, I get messages on, as you do, like on Instagram being like, can we book you?
Yeah,
Used
100%.
to be, you'd go to the website, hit the email, and stuff
it doesn't happen like that.
So it's more like, so long as you have it and you've got some good quality photos and videos, then you're all right. And then the reverse side of that is something like TikTok, where I just throw as much shit on the wall as possible and hope that something sticks.
I haven't done TikTok.
It's a wild game out there.
It?
Yeah, it's another. So for me, it's been my most successful in terms of just views and follows and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Does
it convert to anything? You know, like Instagram, it might convert, and people are searching you. They go, do they do that on TikTok and message via TikTok?
No, TikTok's very good for reaching new people.
Right.
I wouldn't say it's the best landing page, but
so they're not valuable to you as a business, but the number is.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then Instagram didn't used to be that either.
Yeah.
So you just don't know. TikTok might fade away, but it might become this place where you never know. You never know.
Yeah. And the next thing might come along and it evolves into being the thing that that's the must have, and you're already there with numbers and with
trying to keep the finger on the pulse of like where things are going.
Yeah.
As well.
So what do you do? What do you put up?
Anything and everything. And it's
clips of you singing and
clips of me singing. I started off, I got my first 20,000 followers during lockdown.
Right.
Pranking my girlfriend.
Right.
And it was like a comedy page.
Oh, really?
And I was like, how am I going to convert this into like
something more serious?
Because I wasn't doing any shows during lockdown.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't have any videos to show you of singing. And then it's become this thing where I've added the odd singing video, and now it's so random how it works. I've got a video on there with 3.5 million views of me talking about pigeons in Venice. Like, it's so bizarre. And then I've got videos where I'm like, this one I do really well. Like, it looks the shit, and it's terrible. Like, it's got a few hundred.
Gosh,
it's a wild west, and I don't.
Do you ever just feel like giving up on it and going, what's the point?
I've never felt like giving up on it. But TikTok is one where I don't care about it that much.
Right.
So there's no real...
So you're not putting a huge amount of effort into each of the videos and going, I need to get this much? Or...
No, there's no rhyme or reason, but there's no attachment really to it. Like if they pulled it all down tomorrow, I'd be like, well, it was what it was.
Yeah. But your Instagram more valuable.
I feel like it is because it has a presence in all generations where, like I said earlier, people that want to book you, they're probably going to check your Instagram before they check your website now.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing.
Yeah.
And, even just having a few, I think the fact that you can pin things now to your Instagram, top 3 things, is great because you can put like your best shots up. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
You know they're going to see it, and that's often the case.
Yeah, I need to pin mine.
Yeah.
So behind the times.
So that's one thing. Is just making sure that when people arrive, so long as the top 3 things are great, then I'm happy.
Honey, like I see some artists out there, the likes of Emma Smith, for example, or Leon Garner or James Hudson. These names that you see out and about. Megan and Emma's like smashing life and doing all kinds of amazing gigs. Her recordings, her Spotify presence, they're good numbers, but we know, as we've discussed earlier, like the value of them monetarily isn't worth much, but then she's got the gigs to go alongside it. But is she, like, I often think to myself, like, I can go and earn more at a wedding than I can singing at a top jazz club in London.
If you're doing it for money, like the private and the wedding stuff is always going to trump the like the residency
jazzy
stuff.
Yeah.
I think they look at other people and think the same thing. So there are 3 things. Firstly, you've got to consider the monetary value. Secondly, you've got to consider the opportunity. So like how good is this opportunity? And thirdly, it's like what you enjoy. The combination of those 3 things. If it's great money and it's a shit gig, you're going to do it anyway.
Absolutely.
Vice versa. If you really enjoy something and the money's not that good, you're going to be like, well, do you know what, this is good and it's a good opportunity. It's trying to get that balance. So my approach with it is like the money makers are the private ones. Like I've got a show this July for Santo Versace, his wedding. So Versace's wedding.
No way.
The private scene, like doing the stuff that I had one for the Sheikh of Ras Al Khaimah and the big hitting ones is where you get the money. And the weddings and the corporate. And then the stuff, I find it difficult sometimes. And actually where I toy the most is like doing these London gigs. I'm like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is actually for the exposure.
Well, it's the exposure, and it's that, you know, these other things. Yeah, Yes, just keep going.
Having your name on the circuit.
Keep dropping your profile.
Yeah.
I've just been booked for a variety show, like a comedy variety show in Wimbledon in September, which I'm up for. Like just a little 20-minute spot doing a bit of Frank in between comedians or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just...
You try everything, something will work, like something will stick. You'll be at a show where someone's in the audience that you never knew was going to be there.
Yeah.
And I used to, back when I was busking,
yeah,
I would be like to my girlfriend, I was like, I can't have a day where I'm not doing anything because the busking option is always there.
Yeah.
The thing with the busking is you never know who's walking past.
Right.
Had some mad people walk past, whereas
Really?
like you never would have met that person had they not been walking in London.
Right.
So for a long time I was like, even if I don't have a gig, I have to go out busking. And now it's become, well, that's not part of the brand. Like now my brand caters towards high-end luxury venues and clients. And it doesn't fit the brand. But in terms of exposure, it was like, just do everything and see what sticks. You never know who's going to be there.
And working hard, keep putting yourself forward for stuff and getting knocked back, and you know, it is what it is. You just
and
have
another
to keep going.
thing, what you're saying about you got to keep doing it. Part of the reason is because the personnel changes. So for example, if let's say our mate at Quaglino's goes on to another job tomorrow. Like recently at the Ned in London, the booking agent is changed. I haven't had a gig there since they changed over.
Right.
So it's like there's a door that's been closed there. Like, If you want to be the guy that's on the circuit, you do have to keep your thumb on the pulse. Someone's finishing up, she's gone on maternity leave, the sound engineer's got like your point of reference is kind of
100%.
over time.
I'm rubbish at that.
Keeping on top of it.
Well, just going and knocking on doors. Like going into you probably go into a venue and say, all right, I'm Nick and this is my stuff. Do you do that?
I haven't done it in a while.
And
I think it gets to a point where you certainly start that way. But it does get to a point where, fortunately, it's like if someone's setting up a new venue or personnel changes, you like to hope that someone said something. He was all right, getting back in.
Sure.
So word of mouth is still trumping social media.
I only really do Quaglino's in town. It's a great vibe in London now, isn't there? There's such a nice, a lot of these venues are building the restaurants with a view to actually, we need entertainment, we need live music, and that's nice rather than just being stuck in a corner, you know, with not enough room for a band. You know, it's nice to have some thought that goes into it, and that seems to be the way at the moment. There's quite a lot going on, which is good.
Good for us.
Good for us. Absolutely. When we do it, I mean, as I say, I don't do many of them. I love Quaglino's. It's a nice one.
I love coming down that staircase.
It's magical, isn't it?
You feel like you're in a movie set.
Well, do you know what? My dad, he nicked an ashtray. Do you know about the iconic Quaglino's ashtray?
No, go on. Let's hear this.
It's a Q. For Quaglino's, obviously, and it's like iron, like metal ashtray. And we had one in our house for years, and that was like quite an iconic item because it's been around for that long. You know, Quaglino's.
It used to be this place to go. Like,
where, like, exactly.
Hugh Grant would hang out.
Exactly.
More of a membersy club, wasn't it? Back in the day?
Exactly. So to be there is to keep the quality up. A lot of people say that. Oh, you know, all your stuff's so high end. You know, it's such good stuff.
And that's your brand as well. That's you.
I try. I try to. I do try to keep that because I feel like I charge quite a lot. You know, and in order to charge quite a lot, I want to make sure I'm wearing expensive suits. And, you know, the brand as a whole needs to feel expensive. I think
this is something that really comes into play with the pricing of things. And when you're doing the high-end luxury market, this is where people don't understand, like, why you can charge more or not. You have to get in the headspace of the client and understand how they live, and that means getting a nice suit. These are the people that notice the difference between. The reason this tweaks in my head is because I went to uni with this guy, and he went to Eton College, so he got taught all of the etiquette and all that kind of thing. And one time I hadn't had a clue about this. I went to state school and whatever. So I turn up and like I'm wearing a. What I thought was a nice suit. I was like feeling quite chuffed with myself. This is years ago. And he just goes, oh yeah, you should never do up more than one button on your blazer. You should be wearing like a proper bow tie. That shirt isn't the right fit for that thing. This is for that. And I'm like, where are these rules? Who's written these rules?
It's only a suit.
It's
not only a suit.
But then
it's costume.
Then you realise that the clients that you want, you have to understand what goes on in their world, and you're a reflection of them. Yeah. If you're doing an event for them, you have to look $1 million. And you have to be investing in what you're wearing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you have to be able to converse with people in a way which is as if you are a member of their party, but knowing when to hold back.
I'm not very good at that, actually.
What, holding back?
No, just no. Do you know what? I can mix with lots of different crowds. You know, obviously I've been around so many different crowds, so you have to be a bit like a chameleon, don't you? Just kind of fit in, change the colour for according to the event. But yeah, you're right. It's important. You've got to portray yourself as being proper. You can't.
It's not just about when you're pricing yourself. It's not just about what you think your vocal ability is.
Yeah,
you're not there just to stand there and sing a song.
No,
you're an entertainer, and you're wearing a nice suit, and you're there to reflect on their day and make it go how they envisage it to go.
100%. Every time it's key. That was the whole thing with Jackpack as well. It's like an expensive brand. That was why the record label were outspending money on us to make sure that we would go in and looking the part. That was always quite key, actually. And I didn't have it. I didn't know how to do my hair. I remember Sean coming around before BGT, and he was teaching me how to blow dry my hair. Not even joking. Now I've never looked back. Don't go out without it blow dried.
you all look sharp, and it does add to a lot of it is visual.
Yeah,
a lot of it is visual, and you've got to have a vocal talent and an ability to put on a show. But also, if you're 400 pounds rolling around on stage, you're not going to be booked, are you? Like people want that image as well. Yeah. So
definitely. I think we used to say that you want the girls to want you, and you want the guys to have a drink with you. You know, that's the nice middle ground. You want to be you don't want to be completely out of reach, but you want to be a nice balance, and you want to be approachable and friendly, but also keep yourself kind of.
Do you ever get it kept. Where I mean, you're a good-looking lad.
Stop it.
You turn up to an event, and you're looking good. Well, I'm not gonna push you on the age, but you know, you're clearly a good-looking chap. Thanks. And walking up to a suit to someone's wedding where clearly the bride or the bridesmaid or whatever has chosen you to be there.
Yeah.
Do you ever
exactly
get
what you're saying?
All right, I'll just say right. So you turn up, and the blokes are all looking at you like, "Who's this prick?"
Yeah, totally.
And by the end of it, like you said, they want to have a beer. That's your job, is to...
Yes, 100%. But the initial thought is, why have we put like the groom standing there looking a bit like, looking a bit George, not there's anything wrong with Asda. And then you're there and the bride's like, it's so great. Yeah, I've had that.
Yeah, part of the game, isn't it?
Part of the game. Gotta love it. But you're right. By the end of it, you just be yourself and you have a beer together.
You're a very humble guy.
Yeah.
It's not... the experiences that you've lived the life that these A-listers live, and you've had that experience, and at the same time you're a very humble guy. Like you said, you're still able to do someone's wedding and this sort of thing, and you're able to sit down and have like a nice chat, and it's very easy.
Feel good about it.
It's easy for someone in that position to suddenly go, I'm not doing this anymore, or like get a bit snobbish about it. So I think that's really nice, and I think that will come across really nicely on camera. Which you've already shown, I think, on Stastruck, where you're very likable. People watch that and that they like you. In the same way that people, you want the guys to have a beer with you after the show.
Yeah.
That's an authentic thing, which comes through your singing and your showmanship.
Yeah.
And then the opportunities like the TV thing and this, where you can show your personality, makes you very likable.
You don't often, because it's all social media, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't often get the opportunity to do it, which is, it's nice to do. And it's a good format for the podcast.
Honestly, mate, been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Properly. Actually, meeting in person as well. It's the one thing as a singer. Where
you're never on the same bill, are you?
Yeah, you know of them because they're doing the similar circuit, but you never get to meet them. So this has been great for me.
Yeah, been really nice.
Really inspiring to see
Thanks for having me.
Done and what you're going to do, and I'm wishing you all the best with it. And I'm sure we will bump into each other very soon.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
Well, next show you put on, I'll try and come. I was going to try and come to the Pheasantry.
Yeah, let me know where and when you're at. And
we'll do.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
I need to put on something more central. Yes. Yeah, we'll do that.
Finally, where can people find you then on socials?
Andrew Bourn Official is my pages, and that is Bourn with no E. I have to put that in because everyone spells it wrong. Website is andrewbourn.co.uk. And thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.